I never wanted my daughter. I am 34 years old, and I have never wanted kids in my life. I like living alone, having my routine, doing whatever I want. The only person who ever got me to commit to anything was my best friend Wes, and he was more like a brother to me. Wes had an 11-year-old daughter named Nora, and an older brother named Vince, who used to scream at her until she cried when no one was watching. Before Wes passed, he grabbed my hand and said, "Promise me you'll keep her away from Vince." I promised. I thought I would never have to keep it. I was so wrong. After the funeral, Vince filed for custody before Wes was even in the ground. I hired a lawyer and fought it, but the judge said blood relatives come first, and I had no legal standing. Before Nora left, I made her memorize my phone number and told her to call me if anything ever happened. She whispered that she was scared. Vince grabbed her arm hard and yanked her toward his car. When he saw me watching, he smiled and said, "Say goodbye to your dad's little friend. You won't be seeing him again." The next week, I drove to his apartment to check on her. He answered the door and told me Nora did not want to see me. I asked to hear that from her. He slammed the door in my face. I came back 3 more times that month, and each time he threatened to call the cops. The 4th time I showed up, the apartment was empty. He moved and did not tell anyone where. I spent weeks trying to track them down. I finally found their new address through a mutual friend and drove over unannounced. Vince saw me from the window and came outside before I could knock. He got in my face and told me if I came back again, he would file a restraining order and tell the police I was stalking his niece. I backed off because I was terrified he would actually do it, and then I would never see her again. Months went by with nothing. Then I got a call from Nora's old school saying she had not been enrolled anywhere and they were concerned. I reported it to Child Services and they did a home visit, but Vince put on an act and they closed the case. After that, I heard nothing for almost 2 years. I did not know if she was alive or dead. Then one night my phone rang after midnight. I picked up and heard crying on the other end. A voice I barely recognized whispered, "It's Nora. Please, I need help." She told me Vince caught her eating leftovers without asking and he lost it. He called her a worthless parasite and grabbed her by the hair and threw her out the front door in her pajamas. She had been walking the streets for 3 hours looking for a payphone. She did not even know where she was. I made her read me every street sign she could see. When I found her, she was sitting on a curb clutching a garbage bag against her chest. She looked up at me with Wes's eyes, and something behind them was broken. I took her home and told her no one would ever hurt her again. The next morning, I called a lawyer. 4 days later, I hear pounding on my door so loud the pictures on my wall shake. I look through the peephole and see Vince standing there red in the face. I tell Nora to go to the bedroom and lock the door. She runs. I call 911 and tell them someone is trying to break into my apartment. Then I open the door. Vince shoves past me and starts screaming, "Where is she? Nora, get out here right now!" I say, "You need to leave." He spins around and gets so close I can smell the liquor on his breath. He says, "You think you can just take what's mine? She belongs to me." I say, "She's not property, Vince." He laughs right in my face and says, "You're right. Property has value. She's worthless, but those checks aren't." I say, "What checks?" He grins and says, $1,500 a month for 3 years straight. That's my money. I earned every cent dealing with her pathetic little face crying about her daddy every single night. That is when I hear the bedroom door open. Nora is standing there. She heard everything. Vince sees her and says, "Get over here, now." Nora does not move. She looks at him and says, "No, he's done more for me in 4 days than you did in 3 years. He's more of a dad than you ever were." Vince's face goes dark. He walks toward her and says, "You want to know the truth? Your real dad begged me to take you because he knew nobody else would want you either." Nora's face crumbles. I shove Vince so hard he stumbles backward. He swings at me, and that is when the cops come through the door. They grab him immediately. Right before they drag him out, he looks at Nora and says, "This is all your fault, just like your father's death." Then he is gone. Nora watches them take him and whispers, "You didn't have to do that for me." I pull her close and say, "I wanted to. I want you."